everybody, it's Chris. I had a request to show how I glitter the backs of my blanks when I'm doing either the badge reels, so many different things that you can do with these acrylics. Today, I'm just going to show you a Stanley lid topper that I have already started. I did the sunflower, and this is print and cut, which you can check out my other videos. I explain kind of in detail how I do the print and cut, change the patterns. This is one of my favorite patterns for the sunflower. I've got, this is a sheet that I was kind of working on some different patterns, but this is kind of how it looks when it's printed, and then it cuts out the little petals. Then I just use my tool, and unfortunately, if you do print and cut, if it's not sealed with anything, you pretty much cannot use any transfer film with it because it will take the ink right off of the vinyl that you've printed. So for these, I just place each petal one by one, which goes pretty fast for me. The more you do it, the quicker you get, of course, but I don't mind placing them one by one because then I feel like it's kind of exactly where I want it to be. So I've got the front of it done. I've got the paper down, and then I put a coat of clear UV resin. Today I'm using the Yeeho UV resin, which I purchased off of Amazon. I like to use kind of different resins for different things. I really love my Counterculture UV resin for the fronts, just because I feel like it's nice and shiny and I don't get a lot of bubbles with it. It cures nicely, but it is a little more expensive. So I kind of have gotten to the point where I'll use a cheaper resin on the back of it for the glitter because I still get that sparkle effect, but it saves a little bit on the cost of things. A couple of weeks ago, I went through and kind of figured out what my cost was on things, and I was like, holy cats. So kind of trying to find some ways to make things a little bit less expensive so that there's a little bit of profit in it. I love doing it, but I would like to make a little bit of money on it too. So tonight I've got 4 different blanks to work on. These are Stanley topper. Well, this is not a Stanley topper. This is an off-brand tumbler, so I've drilled a hole in it. It doesn't look super pretty right now, but that's okay because it's going to be. And drilled a hole in it for the straw to fit through. So I've got 4 different blanks that I can do tonight. I still have paper on the backs of these, so I have to peel those off. And then I thought this would be a really cute charm for the handle of the Stanley to go with this topper. So I made a little 2-inch version of the sunflower to hang off of the handle. So I might put that together and show you a picture at the end of what that looks like. Okay, so I've got these 4, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use my glitter. This particular color is called Vintage from Glitter Heart. Love this color. It's kind of gold and silver, but it's not like a really bright gold. As the name says, vintage. It's just a really pretty soft gold, but it sparkles so nicely. So I just kind of add a little bit of glitter in there. You can kind of see, hopefully from the side. Get it up here so you can see it in the light. There's not a ton in there. And you can always add more, but I don't want to waste it either. So I've got my glitter in there, and then I'm just gonna take my resin and add some of this. Now remember, this is UV resin, so that means that it hardens with light, which is why it's in a black bottle, so that it does not harden. But as soon as you take it out, I've noticed even under my studio lights, it will start to harden. So you need to kind of work with it. Don't think, oh, I'll just set this aside and work with it later. That doesn't work that way. So what I'm doing here is just kind of mixing up my glitter into my resin. And you want kind of like a paste. You want it to like move around on the blank, but you don't want it so thin that you have just resin on the outsides of the edges. You want it to be thick enough so that the glitter stays where you want it, if that makes sense. You can always go back and add a little more glitter too if you don't feel like you have enough, or a little more resin if you need to. I'm just gonna go ahead and peel the back off of this. And I will tell you that the sunflower is probably one of the harder ones to do just because of the points of the petals. So don't let this scare you into not wanting to do it. It's easy. It's kind of foolproof. I mean, I had a little clear resin left over in between some of the petals of the sunflower, and I just used my X-Acto knife and just kind of cracked it out of there. So here we have the back side of the sunflower. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some of this down. If you find that your glitter mixture is too thin, you will see as it sits on the blank, you'll see like a fine, clear liquid on the edges of it, and that means you don't have quite enough glitter into the resin mixture, because you don't want the edges of your acrylic piece to not have glitter on it, because that's actually what you're seeing through the vinyl on the front side. I mean, if you look at this, there's not a ton that you get to see on the edges. So you want to be sure that your glitter is actually sticking to the edge of the blank. So I just kind of put some on and I start letting it it'll level out a little bit. This is what is this? All of a sudden I just went blank. It's a silicone brush. And I particularly like the one, it's called conical, but I like the one that comes to a point. I've tried using some of the other ends because I think in the set that I bought, I only have 2 of these that have points on them, but I don't really love the other ones. And it's probably just because this is what I started to use and it's kind of what I'm used to. So I always tend to go to the conical end. But what I'm doing is just kind of dragging it out from the center and pulling it out to the edges so that I can get my little sunflower points done. So I'm just going to continue going around here. And if you find, I obviously do not have enough here to do the sunflower, but I can always add more to the middle and it's going to level out for me, and I'm going to continue to go around. So let me finish this up and then I'll pop back for you. Okay, so I have this one covered. The next thing that I do is I use 91% isopropyl alcohol. That's the highest content. The usual is 70%, but it doesn't always pop bubbles. We're using it to pop the bubbles, the air bubbles in the resin. On the back side, it's not as big of a deal as it is on the front. You want the front to be clear and smooth and shiny. So on the back side, it's not as big of a deal if you have a few bubbles on the back, because no one's really going to pay attention to that. The biggest thing that I would pay attention to on the back side, especially since this is going on a tumbler, is I would kind of hold it up to the light and I can see where I'm a little bit thin. I have just a couple little divots where my glitter is not quite as thick. And because it's going to sit on a tumbler, I want this to be pretty level on the back. So I'm just going to add a little bit here in the middle, and then I'll spritz it again with my alcohol. And the alcohol will actually kind of help it to level out as well. But I want to make sure that I've got this pretty level before I stick it underneath my UV lamp. The other thing too, like if you have a nice sunny day out, it works great to put this out in the sun because that will actually set the resin too. Okay, so as you can see, my glitter is all the way out to the points of my sunflower. I could flip it over right now and show you, but I don't want a big old mess. So I'm gonna put this over here under my UV light. When you're doing the glitter back, you can basically just cook it and it's not gonna hurt it at all. When I do the front side with the clear resin with the vinyl, I always kind of do little intervals. The UV lamp that I have has 120, 240, and 300 seconds, I think, on it. I will only do maybe 20 seconds at a time. So I'll do like a 20-second spurt, shut it off, let it set for a good 30 seconds, kind of let it cool down a bit. Because what I have found is if I say cook, but if I expose it to the UV light too long, I think the resin kind of gets warm and it will start to do like this weird crackle effect on the surface. So it kind of looks like ripples, or if you know what orange peel is, kind of a term that they use for painting, but it kind of gets this weird texture on the top. It is not pretty. So I've had to go back and put a second coat of resin on it because I've exposed it to the heat too quickly. But when you're doing the glitter, it doesn't matter how long you have it under the light, because the glitter is kind of, you know, mixed in with the UV resin. So you don't have to worry about that weird effect on it, because it doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't do it with just the glitter. But I really love the sunflowers, but I will say they are kind of a time-consuming little booger because I love printed vinyl. So therefore I have to place it separately because I don't want to waste money on laminating the vinyl so that I can use transfer tape. So I just, like I said, I just place them one by one. And then of course, when you get to the resin portion of it and the glitter portion of it, you still have all those points to deal with, but they're just so darn pretty when they're done. I just love them. So I'm going to go ahead and do this little guy here while we're waiting for that other one to process. And the one thing I will say too, like this one, because it's going to be a charm, I've got a little hole up here. You can always drill it, and if you have something to drill it out with, but best practice is just don't cover up the hole so that you don't have to worry about that later to have to drill that back out if you don't have a drill. I happen to have like a little nail file, kind of like they use in a nail salon. And I have a little drill bit that I actually used on this to make it a little bit bigger because I have to put a little chain through it. So I actually have a tool that I can drill it out, but I know not everyone is as lucky as I am with all the fun things in their studios. So we're just gonna go around that little hole and make sure that we don't cover it. But I do want to make sure I've got my glitter up here at the edge of it so it's pretty. Another thing too that I wanted to mention, this particular blank actually had a hole in it for like a keychain, and it's going to be a topper for a tumbler. So it's no big deal that the hole is there. By the time I put the glitter on the back of it, no one will ever know that there's a hole because my vinyl is covering the front side, and then the glitter will cover the back side. So don't worry if you've got a blank that has a hole in it. You can just go ahead and use it just like you would anything else. Just make sure that that hole is covered on the front side with your vinyl. And then you can cover the back side with your glitter, and no one will be the wiser that you have a blank that has a hole in it. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking here to make sure that I actually have glitter out to the edges. And this was actually a really good consistency for the glitter because it is covering very nicely. All right, I'm gonna take this one over here and put it under the lamp, and then this other one's ready to go. So it's all done. I did this for 120 seconds, and what I will do after I get done showing you this is I will actually put it back in and put the front side up. I don't know, for some reason I feel like it's a good idea to expose it to the light from both sides, but you can see how pretty this is. Like I said, I just love that glitter. I'm trying to look here. I've got my phone. It's kind of upside down, and I know that I've got exposure here, so I'm like overexposing you. Okay, so I've also got my ring light on so that you can see, but it's just a super pretty glitter, but just this is just such a fun pattern. I love all of the leopard print, and it's kind of like a combo of leopard print and just a kind of a hodgepodge of fun little patterns and colors. I love pink anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the other side so that it can cure, because I feel like it's a good idea. I did it for 120 seconds. I will put this back under there and let it cure. I've also got a little bit of sunshine outside too. So, you know, I would just pop it outside and let it sit and cure and get nice and hard so you don't have any issues with it. But that's how you glitter the backside. I think my other little flower is almost done, so I'm going to pull that out. But you can see that my glitter comes all the way out to the edges. So that really was a nice consistency, kind of like a paste, if you will, for the glitter and the resin. It's not, you know, just dripping off. It takes a little bit for it to go off. So that's a nice consistency. Like I said, if you find that you're getting kind of the clear edges, just go back and add a little bit more glitter to it. But that's kind of the final step. I will usually do the clear coat on the front of my acrylics just because I'm generally using the printable vinyl. So if I were to happen to get some glitter on this side, I can still get it off, and if I need to, I can always put another clear coat on it. But I like to go ahead and protect my printable vinyl, so I'll do the clear coat on the front before I glitter the backs. So, okay guys, I think that's it. Here's this other little guy. She's all nice and sparkly too. Yeah, so the sunflower is just so pretty, but if you have any questions, please let me know. Super easy to do this. Don't let it freak you out. And please let me know if you have questions, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.